Welcome back to part 2 of the pastel eye. And now that I've got that base work in place, so I generally know where all the creases are going to be, all the highlights, all the shadows, I'm coming back in and actually refining that by putting a second layer on there. So by refining it, I don't mean putting any real details on yet, but I can now easily judge areas that need to be darker, areas that need to be lighter. Perhaps shape and form needs to be changed. Perhaps I've gone wrong on the positioning, just a little bit of some elements as well. So basically I'm working in layers. I start with the drawing, then go on top of it with a rough, basic underlay, which is putting all the elements in place. So I'm pointing out where the lights and the shadows and things like that are going to be. So that's giving me my first map to follow. On top of that, then I can look at it and think, okay, so these creases need to be darker. These areas will eventually need to be lighter. The lighter tones I normally put on towards the end. So you can see I'm doing my darker tones now, looking where the shadows are. I'm squinting at my drawing and my reference quite frequently. If I haven't got, in this instance, I wanted a dark, rich colour. Haven't got that, even though I've got a lot of pastels in my set, so I've had to put on that rich Rembrandt brown soft pastel, and now I'm coming in on top of that with a dark pastel, almost to black. The two combined are going to give me kind of a dark brown. It's not going to be as rich as I would want it, but as I said, sometimes you just haven't got that colour. And the most important thing for me to do is to get the tone right, so the lightness and the darkness. And obviously I can lay colours on top of this again later, and I'm going to blend this out. But you can see I've noticed from that underlayer I needed to go darker in this section. So the benefit and the beauty of pastels is we can go on top when we're using a paper such as pastelmat. Now, I'm not worried about there being little marks, that it's not completely smooth. As I said, I'm going to blend out, but I also have got a lot of creases and texture on this face, so I don't need a perfectly smooth underdrawing or layer again. When I want to smooth something out, that's when I'm bringing on this paper stump. So this is that Derwent, the rice paper one. You see, I'm not pushing hard. It doesn't need to be hard pressed into it, just a light touch. And that's smoothing that together. You can see I'm getting that rich dark brown that I was after. So you can blend with your finger as well, but that's never going to give you as smooth a blend if you want a smooth blend in an area. So I know all this area needs to be a bit darker. Don't want to go putting any detail on top until I've got it dark enough. And even this area here where I had those marks, you see I can blend it away if I want to. Still got some slight texture in there, and that's exactly what I want for this old weathered skin that I'm going to build up upon these layers. Now I'm going to put in the creases, the darkest part of the creases. Remember, when I'm working with pastels, I'm almost always going from dark to light. So I want to get these creases down in first. It makes sense to do that, because then I can work on the mid-tones as well, and the highlights last of all. Could have used a pencil here, or a stick. but I wanted this very rich dark brown rather than a black, and in my Rembrandt pastels that was the closest colour to it, and I can still get a nice fine line just by using the edge. So you can see I'm keeping those wrinkles and creases actually in place, so I'm not losing them when I'm building up the layers. It's quite easy sometimes with pastel to actually lose the positioning of elements, so I'm re-establishing those just like I would with oil painting. And now just coming in very light touch in the crease direction, blending them in. Very simple, nothing complicated about that at all. And that's something we can do really easily with pastels. Now I'm just going to darken some other areas up. Now the main centerpiece for this drawing obviously is the eye, which as I said I'm going to make it that bit more vibrant. So I'm going to do just a little bit more work on it, only because it keeps drawing me to it all the time and I'm itching to do some more on there. I could have left it till the last thing to actually complete, but I'm going to keep going back and forth to it, just refining. You find sometimes if you're working a lot on something like wrinkles or certain type of fur, you want to break from there, so it doesn't hurt to actually go on to another part that you're excited about. You'll be fresh on, work on that, and then come back to the bit that's a bit more tedious or taking a long time to complete. Now when you're doing a highlight, don't always just automatically jump in with white. Very often it's a blue in there, usually a deeper blue than this, more of a sky blue, a darker blue. But here I've got this very light blue. You can see I'm using the Carbothello pencils again, my favourites. And then in the corner it'll start to go almost to a white. Now it's the highlight, the bright highlight, which will also have reflected eyelashes in there eventually, but it's the bright highlight that's really going to make this pop, and it will obviously be the lightest part of the drawing. So you can see I'm using my whitest white, my Caran d'Ache, in the corner, so that's the lightest part of it. Then I'll blend it into the blue, and you can see how that's really made the eye much more contrasty, really popped it. And it's going to stand out a lot. Just blending a little bit with my finger and straightening that edge up as well. But as I said, I will come back and refine all this because I need to get the reflected eyelashes in there. I'll put in a few of the other highlights as well. I'm going to come back to it, so they don't really need to go on yet, but I just wanted to make sure I know the kind of position they're going to be on and the effect I'm going to get from them when I've refined all of this section. Okay, so let's start to look at how I'm possibly going to do all of this skin texture, because don't forget, human skin is completely new to me. I'm working out how I'm going to achieve this as I'm going along as well, and I can't see, you know, I'm always looking for quick and easy ways to do things, but I can't honestly see a quicker or easier way to do it than to just use a lighter pencil and draw all of these little wrinkles, little creases in place individually. But I'm not going to try and follow the reference photo exactly. That's impossible. Or it's impossible for me. I wouldn't have the patience for that. So as usual, as I say in my oil paintings as well, I'm going to put in the suggestion of what's going on here. So I'm going to put in my version of the wrinkles. Nobody really should be seeing the reference photo in your artwork, so it wouldn't really matter if I've got wrinkles and creases in exactly the same places, just like spots on a cheetah. You guys are only seeing the reference photo because I'm showing you exactly how I tackle various things, so you guys can put it and apply those techniques to your artwork. So Carbothello pencil, it's a pinky purpley pencil, no idea of the number. I never ever look at the number on my pencils. I'm always looking at the colour on the end and trying to match that up. Now once again, this is kind of a searching and refining technique. The more I do on an area, the more I see where parts should be refined in different ways. So parts need to be darker, some parts need to be lighter. You see, I'm checking and trying out my colours on the side of that spare bit of pastelmat paper. When I'm looking for, say, a rich dark reddy brown, I need to try out all different things, because not always when you look at the tip of the pencil are you going to get that exact colour. Now I know this colour needs to be darker, but finding a very rich red, dark red, or a very dark brown that's a rich warm colour is difficult. That's the type of thing you don't find easily in your pencils. So sometimes you've got to pick what you've got and go with that. So this is a Pitt pastel pencil. So that's P-I-T-T. So I've got a few different ranges, different makes of pencils. My favourites would be Carbothello and Pitt, but I have some others as well. Okay, so here I'm starting to put in the lighter details. Just, you can see how slowly I'm going on these initial stages. I won't be going as slow as this all the way throughout, as I've selected my pencils and I've got my colour ranges. So I've got the colours out in my pencil set that I know are the closest. Then I'll start to speed up. So I know I'll have, say, whatever it would be, 5 or 6 pencils or something like that out that I'm using all the time, and I can start to work a lot quicker. But obviously at the moment I'm still checking, is this the right colour I need? Have I got a better colour? Is this giving me the exact effect that I'm after? So this is the part where it's really feeling to see if this is going to work or not. And as I said before, don't forget, this is my first coloured portrait. So that's why I'm going so slow and so carefully at this stage. So I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. Those lighter pink tones seem to work for the detailing. I put in a few of the darker tones then for the creases. And here just getting in that nice rich dark over the eyelid. Don't forget, as I mentioned before, I've lost a heck of a lot of the video when I'm going from these stages into the detailing when that memory card actually died on me. So I'm just doing the best I can to salvage some form of benefit out of it for you guys, so you can see how I'm building things up. But unfortunately you won't see me build up the detailing on the surrounding areas of the eye, so I'm spending more time on this, but you will see me put in the final details on top of everything. So I've got a good bit of footage of those very final details. And you can see just simple things such as the dark line going under the eye itself that I'm putting in really starts to make a difference. Steady hand, pushing quite firm, then softening off. And that really made the eyeball and the white of the eye look like it's down into the recess part. Need a light by you, and that's going to make a big difference as well. It's going to make it look wet. Sharp pencil. And a bit lighter here as well. Now it's all these little highlights that's going to give it that wet appearance. Notice I'm not using a white pencil though. Even here I'm using a creamy or very, very light pink. And that starts to make that really look wet in that corner. And then I can just add a bit of this darker pinky purple, and that softens that a bit. I'll do the final highlights right at the end when I can keep those whites pure and fresh. Now I'm just going to do that bit of detailing on this bottom lid. Not as much actually on this section. So as I said, just doing the suggestions of where these little crease lines and texture lines are. I'll come back in at the very end to do the eyelashes. I don't want to put them in yet because the eye is not finished at all. They will be pretty much the last thing I'll do. So you can see now how I'm working quite fast, but this is real time. Just putting in the suggestions, not looking to duplicate every mark that's on that reference photo. So as I'm putting the final bits of refinement around here, I'm going to bring this second video to an end. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'm glad that I managed to save the bit of video that's got at least one section of building up detailing on there. It's a shame that I lost the main detailing part of the middle. But on the next video we'll jump then to the final details. You'll see how I've progressed, and you'll see how I put on all those final punchy highlights, eyelashes, and the final refinements. If you're looking for even more great art sources, I've really got you covered. First off, I've got a Patreon channel that's been going well over a year or so, packed with around about 50 or more videos and new ones every month. Lots of the videos are many hours long, so you can see they're really in-depth. Subjects such as turtles, birds, elephants, big cats, you name it, it's on there. So that's my Patreon channel. And also on that Patreon channel, before I go on to something else, I've got a secret Facebook group. So only the members are actually on there. It's the most supportive and friendly Facebook group that I've ever seen. I know I'm biased, but it really is. We've got 400 or 500 members on there, and they all help each other. So that's a great added bonus. That comes free with it. Also, you get line art every month as well. And we've just designed a brand new companion website for it. So if you've joined other patrons and channels and you found it very, very difficult to navigate around, we got this free website that comes with it. All the videos are now just a single click away. It couldn't be any easier than it is. I've also got my site, jasonmorgan.co.uk, lots of tutorial videos, DVD discs and downloads on there. And if you're struggling for reference photos for your art projects, I've got some of those too. I've got 900 plus on my website, wildlifeart-online.com, and they will be copyright free for you, so you can paint and draw from them and sell your work with no copyright worries whatsoever. So hope you like those extra resources, and I'll see you all again real soon.